You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming your way on today's show, I'm going to list out 10 reasons for why I think Trey Lance is going to break out in 2022 as a first-year starter for the San Francisco 49ers. And everybody wants to talk about how Trey Lance is so raw. He only started 2 games last year, and there's no way that the Niners are going to be able to compete for a Super Bowl given how inexperienced Trey Lance is. But he has so much ability, and that kind of backs up my argument for why I think Trey Lance is going to be able to break out as a first-year starter this upcoming season. So point number 1, Trey Lance has a support system. He has an organization that supported him. He has an organization that mortgaged a lot of draft capital to move up to take him in the 2020 NFL draft. And on this roster, he has a great head coach. He has very good complementary pieces on the offensive side of the football. Take a look at the support system for Trey Lance. And a lot of other inexperienced quarterbacks do not have all of these pieces at their fingertips and at their disposal. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to be able to do a great job in putting Trey Lance in a position to succeed. Having his blind side blocked by Trent Williams, the best left tackle in the game, is a great luxury to have. And then you take a look at his weapons, not including running backs, who we'll get to later on today's video. Deebo Samuel, coming off one of the most masterful offensive seasons that we've seen from any weapon in the history of the NFL. I think he's going to continue to emerge as one of the best players in the NFL. Brandon Ayuk is my prime breakout candidate in 2022 for San Francisco. I love his ability. And then you have a top 3 tight end in George Kittle. Trey Lance has a support system that's going to help him break out in year 2. Number 2, Trey Lance really grew during each of his 2 starts this past year as a rookie in the 2 lone starts that he was able to make against the Arizona Cardinals and against the Houston Texans. And I think that growth is only going to continue. Why is that? Because Trey Lance is uber talented. Coming into the league, he was raw, but we knew that. He had 1 game played in 2020 because of a COVID-shortened season. In 2019, his numbers were stupid. But in 2019, that served as the only full season of college football that he played. And when he was drafted, he was only 20 years old. But you look at the skill set. You look at the makeup. He has elite-level arm strength right up there with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, in my opinion. In each game that he played and in each start, he got better in all of those games. I really like the pocket awareness and the mobility that I was able to see from Trey Lance when the pocket collapsed around him. He was able to have a good feel for his surroundings, step up in the pocket, and what I liked is that he didn't tuck the ball and have his eyes go down and run. He kept his eyes up, he kind of canvassed the field, and he looked to throw before he ran. And I love that about a young quarterback. Not all young quarterbacks have that. Also, he's a great athlete. He has untapped potential. He can run, he can make any throw on the football field, and because of that, that's going to translate on top of the fact that he has a phenomenal support system. So, I want to ask you this question before we continue to move on to our 10 reasons why I think Trey Lance is going to break out. What do you think Trey Lance's touchdown to interception ratio will be? Meaning, how many touchdowns will he throw for, and how many interceptions will he throw? Get creative and let me know in the comment section right now. Point number 3, Trey Lance has all of the ability. When you evaluate quarterback draft prospects, what do you look for? You look for arm strength. You look for size. You look for a dual threat ability in today's modern day NFL. Trey Lance has all of that. And if Trey Lance were to be in the 2022 NFL draft class, he would be the number 1 quarterback prospect, ahead of Malik Willis, ahead of Kenny Pickett, and ahead of Matt Corral. All of the ability is there for Trey Lance. It just has to translate to the football field, and hopefully this upcoming season he gets all of the reps so that he can work out some of those kinks. Number 4, Trey Lance, as compared to other quarterbacks who are in less ideal situations, shouldn't feel pressure to have to do too much. We talk about those complementary pieces. We talk about the great coach that is Kyle Shanahan, the offensive wizardry that we've seen him kind of put forward on the football field with his play calling. And also, what we haven't talked about so far is that the Niners have a quality defense. DeMeco Ryans, one of the best defensive coordinators in the National Football League. He has a great defensive line, does DeMeco Ryans, with Nick Bosa, who had 15.5 sacks last year. The linebacking core is one of the best in the NFL, with Azeez Al-Shaair, Dre Greenlaw, and the all-pro Fred Warner. You improved your secondary by bringing in Charvarius Ward on top of Emmanuel Mosley. Ambry Thomas, I think he's going to continue to play good football, and I want to see more from Deommodore Lenoir. So Trey Lance has a good team around him. Unlike a lot of other inexperienced quarterbacks, like a Trevor Lawrence with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who still has a pitiful football team around him. And when that happens, and when that's the case, some of these young quarterbacks feel a lot of that pressure. Next up, number 5, Trey Lance's legs will be able to get him out of a lot of trouble. Now, last year, I talked about the fact that I love how Trey Lance didn't look to run right away. But when you have that dual threat ability to your game and you have that athleticism, you don't always have to rely on your arm to make a big play. And I really think about that play against the Houston Texans last year when the Niners were backed up on their own goal line in the shadows of their own goalpost. And Trey Lance was looking to throw, right? Pocket broke down. He was able to escape pressure to his right, dump it off to Brandon Ayuk for a critical conversion on, I believe, what was a 3rd down. And plays like that are going to help bail you out over the course of a season, over the course of the guts of a game. And I think Trey Lance's legs will really be able to take some of that added pressure that is on him, and it's going to allow him to really be successful this upcoming season and bail him out for maybe not being as experienced as some other quarterbacks out there and maybe not being as fine-tuned when it comes down to deciphering and picking apart defenses and going through those progressions. Trey Lance, it looks as though he's going to be the starter in 2022. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is the starter, I will not believe it. And I think it'll be awful for this football team. But your level of confidence in Trey Lance as the starter for the Niners in 2022. Scale it for me from 1 to 100. 1, not confident at all. 100, very, very confident. Sound off and rate him in the comment section. Number 6, Trey Lance is said to have great character, and with that, it comes a great work ethic. So many people have raved about him being a natural-born leader, him being cool, calm, and collected, his work ethic being extraordinary, and I think all of that lends itself to you being a good quarterback for a long time. He has leadership qualities. He wants to improve on some of his flaws and weaknesses. This offseason, he's been working with some of the best quarterback coaches out there because he realizes, I have a great opportunity in front of me. I can become a quarterback and the starting quarterback in the face of the franchise for a team that in its illustrious history has won 5 Super Bowl championships, and we're trying to get to number 6 to tie the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots for the most Super Bowl championships of all time. He has all of the exemplary, I guess, methods of being a starting quarterback in the NFL, and when you have all of that, you could be the face of the franchise and you can deal with some of the pressures that come along with being a starting quarterback. Number 7, Kyle Shanahan is going to make Trey Lance's job easier, and the offense is going to be quarterback friendly. And the offense is already quarterback friendly. But I think Kyle Shanahan, he's not going to change the offense all that much, but you're going to be able to see Trey Lance run play action from under center. He's going to be able to run RPOs from the shotgun. He's going to be able to run the football out of some of those same looks. And I think Kyle Shanahan is going to design plays to allow Trey Lance to find momentum early in games, to find his groove, to find his footing, give him some easy passes to complete. And what does that do? In turn, it builds up the confidence for a young quarterback. And I have trust that Kyle Shanahan is going to be able to develop Trey Lance along the way. And there's no doubt that Trey Lance is the most talented quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has ever been able to coach as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. Number 8. The ground game. It's going to be Trey Lance's best friend. And really, that's the forte, that's the foundation of Kyle Shanahan's offense. And what does that do? It makes the quarterback's job easier. And I like the makings of this backfield in the Bay. Elijah Mitchell, he's going to be RB1. Trey Sermon, he's been working his ass off this offseason and looks great working with guys like Dalvin Cook. By the way, Trey Lance, working with players like Lamar Jackson, I love it. I like JaMychal Hasty as a backup running back. Jeff Wilson, pretty solid. He's coming back on a 1-year deal. But Elijah Mitchell here, he had a great rookie year. He was top 5 in average rushing yards per game. And Trey Lance, maybe if he's off from time to time, he's going to be able to turn around. He's going to be able to hand the football off to Elijah Mitchell as he continues to establish momentum in year 2 for him. And as the same member of that draft class, you have a couple of young building blocks. And on top of that, I mean, Trey Lance, he's going to be able to rely and lean on this ground game to allow him to be successful. Number 9, year 2 quarterbacks. They've made jumps before. It happened with Carson Wentz from 2016 to 2017. Patrick Mahomes played 1 game in 2017. 2018, he won the NFL MVP. Year 1 to year 2 for Joe Burrow, ended up leading the Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl championship, coming off a really severe injury. Year 2 quarterback jumps, they happen often, they've happened before, and I think that could happen with Trey Lance. Lastly, Trey Lance should be given all of the offseason reps to work out some of the flaws. You look at some of the tape from him working with guys like Tom House, who is a former Major League Baseball pitcher, who's worked with Tom Brady in the past. And already you can see Trey Lance's delivery go from loopy to a little bit more quick. So he needs to work on that. He needs to work on his accuracy, and that's why I think it's so paramount that San Francisco has to give him all of the offseason reps for him to work out some of those flaws so that he can be the player that he can be. And he shouldn't have to worry about Jimmy Garoppolo breathing down his neck and worry about Jimmy Garoppolo taking over as the starter. So that right there, folks, 10 reasons why I believe Trey Lance is going to break out in 2022. I believe in this kid. I had him going to the Niners on my last mock draft when I took over the 49ers report last April, and a big reason for that, I'm a believer that he can be a very good quarterback in the NFL, and for all the reasons that I mentioned, I think he's going to be in a great spot in 2022.